What's up, world? It's your boss, International Zoe. I'm here in Medellin, Colombia. We at the Habanos Point, right?
Yeah, that's where we at.
The cigar lounge. I'm with my brother, Robert Thorn III. Let me briefly tell you how me and the brother crossed paths. So I get a call from my brother, shout out to my brother Ed, aka Doc, part of the travel community, brother that I bump into everywhere, DR here, and soon will probably be in Brazil. But basically it was a group of travelers, and he was like, yo, it's like a group of masterminds meeting, you need to be here. So I said, all right, cool. I think we jumped in a taxi, we came through. I go, what's the name of this spot?
Cafe Noir.
Cafe Noir. Sexy spot. I walk in, I'm like, yeah, this is fly, my type of thing, right? And I see a group of brothers sitting down and kicking it. And Bob seemed to be like the nucleus of the conversation. So I sit down, I'm humble, I'm just listening. I'm saying, okay, let me see what's going on. And I'm listening to the brother talk, and I'm like, okay, he looks like an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? He got the drip. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, is he a rapper or something? You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm like, okay, but let me, when you don't know something, you just relax and sit. You got two ears and one mouth, so I'm listening. And I'm listening to the brother talking. I'm like, okay, the brother got some knowledge. The brother got some history. I hear he has some wisdom. You're saying some insightful things. And then I find out that you have two. One is a lounge on the top of a restaurant.
Yeah, one of my businesses in Epic Hotel. It's the terrace. It's called VIBEZ in Market Jersey.
Right. So you got a spot called VIBEZ, and then later on that night we're moving around, and he takes me to this that techno club.
So basically, what we did, me and my homie Dura had a spot called Meet, and it took before the pandemic, like shit was lit. So he still got the spot, but he went on and made a move in Market Jersey. So he told me, yo, pull up, come check my shit. Pulled up, and the reason why I really rock with him is because when I first came to Medellin, when I was about to literally get on the plane, someone hit me like, yo, hit up a bunch of cats that own clubs, and you try to build with them before you get there, because I want to do my birthday at a club.
Right.
And because I got an EDM background, I was hitting up the techno clubs, electronic, whatever. So he the only one that responded to it. So we went from him doing my birthday to me and him doing a deal to do promotions. I had this concept called Trap House Sundays. So it was a twerk contest, and I was giving away $500. I was looking at the currency rate. I was like, oh, nigga, I'm gonna get them, nigga. $500, they gonna eat good. They coming out. So what happened was we did it, man. It was cool, but we didn't really get the turnout like I wanted to. And then I had to start learning, like, Itagoi is not the spot you even do that at. Then we was doing it on a Sunday. So learning process is like anywhere else. And bro, we built, and it was a relationship to a point where he had to go DJ in North Carolina. I literally flew back, hopped in the whip, and drove to go watch him play. Then I dropped my car back off, and then flew right back over here out of respect.
Right.
And then that's somebody I've built with for a long time. And he told me the upstairs is available. And I'm like, shit, let's make a move. So now I got the upstairs VIP to open next weekend. It'll be open. And downstairs is the techno club. Upstairs is the VIP of the same business.
Right.
With VIBEZ, we got the restaurant that opens March 1st. We'd already been doing a lot of techno, Afro. We just mix music and DJs and everything. So now the focus is predominantly more of the like Cafe Noir, more like laid back lounge, kick it, be able to chop it up, and then eat some good food. I am blessed to say that I own a hotel now in Lorella's as well.
Congratulations, brother.
That is Avanti, is the name of that hotel. And what I started realizing was after I did VIBEZ, it was like, yo, really start looking for turnkey businesses and businesses that were really affected by the pandemic. We call them distressed businesses.
Right.
And make them deals. So I copped the hotel. The hotel has already been running 3 years. Got a 9.8 rating on Booking.com. I'm just gonna build it out, switch up the admin, keep doing what we're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Change the rooms up. And it's just a process, but like, what I'm really learning more out here. Well, it may not just only be out here, but going in business with an individual that's already doing good business is like the smartest way to invest, in my opinion, at this point. Doing a whole, especially when I had doing a whole business by yourself, it's like, nah, bro, like, I'd rather you rocking, you already got the books, what you need, or what do I see I could add to the situation.
Right.
And I think it's a lot easier to come in to a place like Medellin and do those things, brothers, especially because price point really ain't nothing. When you coming in, you like drop 10, 15,000, but you dropping 10, 15,000 and you looking at the books, and you already see what they making weekly.
Right.
You already know what your principal coming back. You can already gauge the time.
Right.
You're not guessing.
No question.
That's the thing.
So we just fast forwarded. We're gonna reel it back a little bit, and like you said, I once read that or heard someone say, when you invest in a business, someone needs to be a specialist, either you or your partner. So when you said invest in businesses that are already doing well, someone in there is already a specialist.
Exactly.
So that's a wise investment most of the time.
Right, most of the time.
Right. So now people have covered some of your history, so we're gonna briefly go through the fact of, just quickly, where you grew up, how'd you get to Japan, how'd you get in the entertainment and music industry, and then we're gonna turn up from there.
Okay. Yeah, it's a story that's been told a few times.
Right.
But at the end of the day, my mother is from Lexington, North Carolina. And she became one of the first Department of Defense school teachers in Japan from Lexington, North Carolina. Right? We left North Carolina when I was 2 and moved to Negishi. And we were in Negishi for the first 3 years. Then we moved to Yokohama Bay. So from basically 2 and a half, about to turn 3, to 21, I grew up in Japan. Yeah.
How was that being a brother in Japan? Because that was way before hip hop really kind of took over Japan.
I mean, what it is, I'm glad to say that I'm blessed to have been so young and to be around the predominant real OGs that used to be influential to someone as a youth, you know what I mean? So I really, man, that's why I do what I do, because nothing can stop what I'm doing, because I still got the energy from all them brothers.
Right.
I'm talking about brothers from LA, Atlanta, Cali, or I said LA, New York, Nigeria, just all over the place. But even though brothers was like in the military or not in the military, it was an energy that they was giving off from all these different worlds. Like I said, I was young. So growing up is like, it's the same thing as growing up on your block anywhere else. Right. It's just the fact that we in Japan though. Right. So now you got like, in one world we on the military base. That's one world. Mm-hmm. That's your mini America.
Right.
When we get outside that gate, we lit. Right. Growing up, cigarette machines next to the beer machine, nobody carding in the club. I got my Peach Fuzz 13, you know what I'm saying? I'm making it was people wait till they 21 to turn up. I was turned at 13. Mm-hmm. So it made me speed up to slow down. You know, it made me really be able to gauge like what really makes sense in life and what doesn't make sense in life. Why Japan? I was blessed to be raised in a land of loyalty and respect, a culture that a lot of my friends is in Bosozoku and they graduated to Yakuza. So I got a lot of stories and a lot of things I experienced, but the loyalty factor, There's loyalty in America. There's loyalty in our tribes.
Right.
But the consequence for being disloyal is different. And
that's an interesting point.
You know, I've had homies that had all their fingers and then they lost some. You know, I've witnessed that. So my thing has always been never be disloyal. Always be upfront about everything. Always be blunt about everything. Learn how to read individuals, not from their outside appearance, but from their spirit by connecting with them, whether that's eye contact and this overall energy. You know, there's just a lot of positive jewels that I got by being around older brothers and, you know, just growing up in a hunch, baby.
Like they say, loyalty is priceless. So, do you feel you being a brother of color in Japan, what were the benefits or disadvantages quickly?
I mean, the benefits were being from a background where my mother had already had me in modeling. She already had introduced me to an entertainment world, and her being a singer and Sony and all that good entertainment, man, we were lit. You could be mediocre at what you do and still get a check. So I really didn't see the racism side because I was so young. From being in the Japanese community, I didn't really experience that at all. Now my mother has her outlook through other friends and relationships, and she gonna say maybe, you know, something different from me. She's my mother, she's older than me. And other people may say that, but I was a kid. So now on the base, yeah, there were still some, you know, times where color and situations transpired because we still dealing all Americans.
Right.
You know, so I wouldn't say that I experienced any racism offside of the base, and I would say that as a brother, if it wasn't for Japan, I would not be the brother I am today.
Right.
For how I moved.
And I was looking at an interview in a bio or something, and it was something to the effect that you were like either managing or hosting a club in Japan at like 14 or something like that.
Yeah, circus. Yeah, my man Kaz. So we used to go to circus. We used to it'd be like Friday, whatever. We'd run up the circus. My man Kaz was like, "Yo, you want to get some money?" Of course I want to get some money. He was like, "Look, I see you all the time. I'll be coming 8 deep, 10 deep, 15 deep." He said, "How's your relationship with the other bases inside?" I said, "You know, it's cool. I'm a Red Devil. We play football." He was like, "Cause you know, it was my freshman year." He was like, "Yo, the more cats that you bring in, I'm gonna start giving you some bread."
Right.
Cause we spending. I don't remember where we was getting all the money from, but we was spending.
Right.
But we in the club with the Army cats, the Marine cat, everybody. We in the club together. So that was the introduction to me slowly, you know, doing my thing with Kaz. And it developed to a point of where Kaz started trusting me with other responsibilities. And as you know, I was co-manager to manager. So I would go to school. I had more jobs than that. I would go to school and I would dip school at like, school got out at like 3. I leave school and I go to Tokyo. Earl had a hip hop clothing store. And in that same building, like he was teaching like English and teaching cats like how to rap. And his wife Kay was an entertainer and she was a dancer. My mother used to sing for her too, so she'll do like the spiritual type dance vibes, and then my mom would be singing like. So being in that little family, I was doing that. I dipped from there. Then I go to KSR Records with Daniel Brooks, Thorn III Productions. For KSR Records, I used to have to do the promotions, get the flyers, whatever's going on, new events, whatever, and go to the train stations, put up the joints and all that.
And this is all in Japan?
This is all in Japan. Then I go to the club and I gotta work.
Right.
So I get home at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning,
right.
Get up and go to school.
So you definitely cut your teeth doing all the work, all the jobs, from the bottom up.
That's what a real record executive is.
Right.
From being a runner, to knowing sound, light, to being a producer, executive producer, being an artist. If you haven't experienced all the hats, you can't call yourself a record executive. Because my thing is like, you gotta respect everybody's position. From the cat who holding the lights, I go grab the lights too, because I know where to plug them in. I know where to move them, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So at what point do you make your way back to the United States, and how do you transition those relationships there to what you were doing in Atlanta? Or did you start back in North Carolina, or was it Atlanta?
Nah, man, what happened was, in 11th grade, I had left to go to Bahrain. And so I did my senior year in Bahrain. And then I left Bahrain. I didn't even walk. I was like, yo, I want to walk with people I can walk with. So I dipped. I hopped on the plane, which is a whole another crazy story. Me and my man was, I ain't gonna tell you that anyway. Well, I'll tell you anyway. So me and my man was smoking in a car on the way to the airport. Just so happens, this movie called Final Destination that just came out. So we got the TV screen in the car. So we lit going to the airport. Final Destination, you know, the first scene, plane blow up, right? So I'm tripping and get on the plane. There's a 2-hour delay on the plane. We fly into Japan from Bahrain, so we have an emergency landing in Hong Kong. That was my first time being in Hong Kong.
Okay.
So I get back to Japan, everything's good. They don't let me walk for whatever reason. And it's a whole thing about the principal at the school. Initially, the first principal was a white dude. Then we got a brother. So when we got the brother, we were celebrating. You know, we got a brother named Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown didn't let me walk.
Wow.
So I go, you know, go do the prom, go do everything. Not prom, go do the graduation party in Roppongi and all that stuff. And I just made a decision that, you know, I was gonna stay in Japan for a while. Some things transpired where that decision changed within maybe about 8 months. And I said, yo, I'm just gonna go to college. So I went to Manchester. I went to Manchester Midi School, Q-Base VST Institute. And I was there. I left Manchester. Then I went to Bahrain. And I started working for Mirage Promotions as the president's assistant there. In Mirage Promotions, we did Elton John, we did Rod Stewart, we did Gabrielle, we did Westlife, we did Craig David. So while I'm the president's assistant, I'm the one responsible to make sure all the sponsors and everybody good.
Right.
Paper trails, this, that, thirds. So it really started teaching me the game about how you get sponsors. I'm talking like British Airlines, Jaguar, DHL Carrier Service. Like, I'm sitting in the rooms with these individuals, like, and ain't nobody really in charge of me in the sense that I work for the president, but I didn't have to climb no ladder in no corporation to get in that position.
Right.
By my background, she already seen I knew what I was doing, so she just let me do what I was doing. So she offered me a job in Dubai. I turned it down because it was in dollars. And, you know, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So during this time as well, there was a lady I was dealing with that I ended up getting pregnant and married her. She was Uzbekistani Ukrainian. And yeah, man, she had the baby 6 months premature. And I quit my job. I flew over there to go get my seed, and the day I got there, man, like, I didn't really know her family was mafia-oriented the way they were. So just imagine, like, you land in a place you ain't never been. I've never been in Uzbekistan. Everybody lined up at the airport, you know, we just got off the plane. They calling my name. They bring me to the front. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what's going on. They bring me to the front. Dudes in black suits come get my bags, all this. They put me in the car. So we riding, and I'm like, I want to go to the hospital to see my baby. She like, nah, we got to go holler at my uncle there first. So we go do that, man. And next thing I know, long story short, man, we never went to the hospital because my baby died. And my baby died on the way from me trying to get over there. Died like two days before. I never got to see my baby. They wouldn't tell me my baby was buried, nothing. It's a mystery about that. It's in my book called No Excuses to Be Out, like 8 months. So more to the point. So moving around, I had to make some different decisions about bread because I already quit my job. So I ended up getting with an organization there in Uzbekistan called the Sony agency. one of the brothers I went to school with that I had already brought to Bahrain before that was a rapper, he and I was working on getting him over there to Uzbekistan. There was a show, Dr. Album. I don't know, some cats might know him, but Dr. Album from Africa, artist, whatever. So the company knew Dr. Album wasn't going to make the show. So they was trying to figure out, how could they replace him? So they like, yo, we was talking about doing business with you after. Let's go ahead and do business now.
Right.
So we get everything together. They give me the bread. I shoot over the 50% over to my man in LA. Everything's in the name. His rap name was Mr. Sabotage's Style. So, bro, we got the police dogs. We got the whole everything on the ride that he wanted because it's Uzbekistan, Afghanistan's right below. He like, bro, I don't know. So, man, we get to the airport, brother. They got Riot International TV, MTV Russia, or everybody is in the VIP of the airport lounge, and bro is not on the plane. So all the cameras turn toward me, like, what you gonna do now, my brother? You was popping, you asked for the world, we gave it to you, wow. And your man ain't come, and that bread, what's up? And I'm dealing with the Russian, So we end up back in the office. We leave the show. We back in the office and all the lights on. Everybody sitting at the table like this. I'm like, how old am I? Like 20 something, young as hell, sitting at the table. Dude come over, he said, yo, you got like 24 hours, get that money back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, long story short with that, man, I was like, no, because they asked me, they said, do you have another artist that you can call to replace that dude, and we can figure that out? What was going on with me is in Bahrain, I had the relationships based on the relationships of the company. I didn't have a lot of my own personal relationships. And the people I did have personal relationships with was like Soul For Real and a couple other cats, but that was from the Japan situation with Daniel Brooks and Owen Lamb, my attorney then. And
Owen used to be my attorney too.
Owen.
Yeah.
Bro, hold on. 212-333-4444. I think that's still. He kept that number forever. But Owen Lamb, that's my OG.
Okay.
And so I left because it dawned on me that I needed to go build a stronger network to where if anything ever transpired like that in my life again, I got it. Right. Boom, boom, I can replace the situation. Because you never know.
Right.
So I go to New York, my brother Joseph Stewart come pick me up in New York, we go have a meeting with Owen. And Owen said, I'm gonna tell you one thing. He who is the venue owner is the man. If you don't own the venue, you ain't doing nothing. That always stuck with me. Always stuck with me in my mind. So we go to Detroit. I started doing things in Detroit. For a couple of months I was there. Left Detroit after doing a couple gigs, and went back to Uzbekistan. So I'm moving around, just
At what point in this time? Because I'm trying to catch.
You got to catch it. So look,
okay.
I'm moving. Basically, what I did was the same play that we used to do by bringing artists in different situations to Japan.
Right.
I started spreading those situations in these different countries where I already had relationships.
Right.
So to further tighten up my relationships, I went from Detroit back to Uzbekistan, a couple other countries, and I came back to North Carolina because the war broke out. So I'm sitting here raising kids that weren't mine. That's a whole nother part of the story with my ex-wife, but she already had 2 kids. So she ends up leaving me and the kids. So I raised 2 girls for 10 years by myself. And I'm still figuring out work. So I'm bouncing between Augusta, Atlanta, building relationships, still taking care of my daughters, and still doing international situations, the office and the house. So what really got things to pop off for me, it was this cat Miami Mike from Palm Tree Productions. Mm-hmm. Miami Mike had this kid called Soulja Boy. So Soulja Boy was 17, about to turn 18. He had just did the ink with Interscope, and so I started working with the camp, but we had the tour coming up when Crank That dropped,
right.
And I had to make a choice: be on the tour or take care of my daughters. So I had to not be on the tour, I had to stop the work. So long story short with all that, it's just, what really set it off was coming back to America, getting more resources, and then there was a cockiness that had transpired too before the Soulja Boy. I had some bread. I felt I was watching Diddy so much, and I'm like, yo, Winston-Salem, yo, I could do the same. This one Diddy ran the city, Diddy. So I'm like, yo, I could do the same thing in Winston. So I go out to the Lawrence Joe Coliseum, all my bread. I know how to get my sponsors. I know how to do all these things that I learned. Right. And I lost my ass off too because Jay-Z and fucking R. Kelly did the Best Worlds tour in Charlotte, and my shit was 2 weeks after in Winston when I should have did it in Greensboro, which connected me later with Wale Coyote at the radio station, Others Records, Fab Four, Super, I signed Luke Nasty later, Boom Boom, Wale, Ghazi, all these, my whole story in my book, it's crazy how the universe ties in so many individuals, like I just said, Owen Lamb, and you know Owen, so many individuals who are the real individuals in the game and what they do. So long story short, yeah, bro, like I went around just doing what I knew how to do from a jit. And that's what tied me back into America. But I still knew I would be limited on the amount of time I stayed in America because I knew America wasn't a place to live. It was a place to connect, network, get money, set up situations, and then dip to another situation that was more economically sound.
So at what point in this time, because I don't want to skip this over, that you signed a deal with Sony and you're singing on tour with Mariah Carey.
That's 1996.
Because you skipped over that.
Yeah, I skipped over that. Yeah.
Tell me how that happened.
I was trying to speed through it a little bit.
The brother has a long story. We can't get it all.
It's too much.
But he was on tour. What was that? Dream? What's it called? Dream Day Tour. Dream Day Tour.
Yeah, Tokyo Dome.
Backup singer.
Yeah.
So and you had to do that. They had to sign you to Sony.
So this is what happened. I was really 14.
So this was way before all that stuff.
Way before all that other stuff.
Okay.
But I had to be 16. So they made me 16.
Right.
And then you had to do the contracting, you know, with Sony and all that, you know. So I got the situation because of my mother. My mother was offered the situation before me. Mm-hmm. My mother didn't want to do it. So she made a call for me to go do it. Because at this time, I'm doing all the things I was telling you about. And I was modeling for a different company. You know how Japan is. You know, different. So I was getting that bread. And I went to go do the situation. They said, yeah, Rob, you can do it. Signed a deal with Sony, but I met Tommy Mottola. There was a moment backstage where I was watching the dancers do, I forgot what song they was doing. And I was by myself. I, you know, got away from the green room and, you know, the lockdown.
They're probably doing that one with Mace feature.
Yo,
because that's the video that my boys Stretch and Link and all.
It was spread out. It was spread. No, it's two. It was one where they was spread out because the stage was humongous. There was one that was spread out, and there's another one that would Just Be Good to Me was with Mariah, and the other ones they were spread out. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I was watching them, and I had seen Mottola on the phone, and he was watching me. So we had a little conversation, and he's the one that said to me, if I really like the backstage, the dancers, the sound, the lights, stuff, he told me, don't focus on being an artist. Focus on learning the music business. He the one that told me that. So from there, I mean, I know people got things they say, whatever. My experience is different. But yeah, so, you know, there, Diana King and all kinds of people was popping up each different day of the tours. And I got to deal with so many different individuals. So the Sony situation stretched to where Jet Sonic Productions, which was also under Sony, which also assigned my mother, they started doing stuff with me. So it was Sony, and then it was affiliation Sony. I'm doing both causes from the tours, production, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a mix of things that happened.
Right. So somewhere between all of that work in the music industry, modeling, to being an artist, to being an actor,
Yeah, I forgot to say
to
for sure.
being an executive producer, manager.
Yeah.
What led you here to Colombia? And when did you touch down here? What year? What made you decide to come here and continue your business ventures here in Colombia?